Okay, it may be that this is working. So let's go ahead and do it. Hello, this is Patty, the country wife from Vermont, now living in South Carolina. It's been a hot summer so far, and it continues on. Today, let me see if I can find out what the temperature is today. It says there's 89 degrees here. I've just done a little project outside, and it feels like it really is, at least that. So today, I'm hoping to be a shorter video than last time, but I got a lot of stuff, so I don't know. How did your week go? I hope your week was wonderful. I hope all kinds of good things happened, and I hope the bad things that happened were short-lived and have been resolved in a positive way. We'll talk about the health front first. This was an interesting week for me health-wise. Every 6 months I have a dermatology appointment because I have a million moles all over my body. My great-grandmother had moles. All my aunts had moles, and my mother died of malignant melanoma. So I go to the doctor and have my moles checked every 6 months. And yesterday's appointment was going to be the naked appointment. Not my favorite thing, but you know, it has to be done. Well, it just so happened that on Wednesday I was scratching an itch behind my ear, and I felt a bump there, and I thought, that's funny. So yesterday when I went to the doctor, he asked if there was anything new and different. I said, well, yeah, there's this little bump that I scratched. I don't know what it is. It didn't bleed or anything. And he looked at it and he said, okay, well, how do you feel about having me take it off? And I said, well, if you think so. So he did. So there you go. I don't know if you can see it, but, and he said that it's an IS something. If you're a medical person, a skin person, maybe you know what that is. I don't know what it is, but whatever it was, he said, it's probably nothing, but it could be something, and we probably need to take care of it. So we did. And actually, he did the regular check of all the other moles on my body, and then he said, shall I do this while you're lying there on the bed or whatever that thing is? And I said, sure, because he said, then you won't have to get up twice. And that was good, because getting up onto that bench thing is scary. Okay, so he said in 7 to 10 days, we'll tell you what it was. And so they're going to biopsy it, and we'll find out. So there you go. Okay, moving on to the organization front, which, as you know, was one of the first things that I talked about. The house is not as organized as it should be, but I did make a tiny bit of progress. But even more, I want you to know, I got the lawn renovations started. Yesterday I went to get some compost at BC Mulch and More. They have wonderful compost. I got a bucket of it, and today I just came back in. If I seem a little red and hot and sweaty, it's because I went out with our garden fork and I forked holes in the lawn to aerate it, and then I poured the compost over it, and then I forked it again, and now the next to the final step was I broadcast the contractor mixed grass seed over it, quite a bit down, and then I watered it. And I'm going to go out and in 2 hours, I'm going to water it again. And every 2 hours for a while, I'm going to water it, perhaps for the next 3 weeks. So that's what the nice boy at the feed store where I bought the grass seed said I need to do. Okay, good. So that's it on the health and organization. If you have some wonderful stories to tell, put them in the comments. I'd love to know. I love to hear how people are doing and what they're doing, because it makes me keep on task. So now, because it's the beginning of the month, a new month has started, and I'm going to show you my longer term works in progress and where they are. So the most important one to me is the Finest Kind sweater that I'm knitting for my husband. So here is the back of the sweater. That's all done. And the front of the sweater is coming along. You can see that it's coming along. I've got another, I think probably 15 rows to go up, and then I'm going to try it on him and see if my row gauge is correct. They said that if your row gauge isn't right, then there's going to be a problem with the sleeves. So I hope there's not a problem with the sleeves. And I am storing it as I was putting my bags together for things to show. This morning I noted, so I have 4 bags of stuff. This bag is a felted bag I did years and years ago. And a friend who had spent a good deal of time in China said that the people in China make vests that are felted vests like this. And I thought for a brief shining moment that I might make one for him, but then I got smarter and realized I can't do everything that I want to. Okay, here's another bag. This bag is one that I made. I went to a class here in Sumter when there was a wonderful quilt store, and it probably cost me $25 for the class and another lot of money for the material. So here is the mitered square blanket. You may remember that I said I was going to do 1 square a day. You can tell that I have not done 1 square a day, but I've gotten more done. So that's now 4 by 2, 4, 5. So I'm still going, and I'm going to continue on it, and maybe I'll go to 1 a day. So that's another long-term project. Here's another bag. This is a bag I designed it myself. Isn't that a funny thing to say? Basically, I figured out how to make this nice zippered bag with 1 yard of fabric. Maybe sometime, if people are interested, I could put up a sign and show how to do it. Okay, and this is my current sock project. And I love this yarn. Let me just see if I can pull the needles out without pulling them out of the sock. So you can see we're working on the heels, the heel flaps. And as you see, I do 2 at once on 2 circular needles. And if you look carefully, you'll notice that this part of the heel flap is different than this part of the heel flap. I kept losing my place. And then I decided, well, I'm just gonna do it straight stockinette stitch. And then I said, no, I need to have more. So I did about 2 rows of stockinette, and now I'm doing the knit 1, slip 1. So it's gonna give a little bit of thickness there. But that's these socks. And the yarn, I don't know. Oh, I think this is Drops Fable yarn that I was trying to try out to see if I like that better than the Croy sock, Peyton's Croy sock. I like the Peyton's Croy sock better. It's a little thicker and I like it. And these are just knit 1, purl 1, starting at the top. I like them. They will fit well. So there we go. So there's 2, there's 3 longer term projects that I'm working on. I do have to say that it's beginning to be taxing on my mind, well, and my fingers too, to do a lot of different things at once. And I am considering becoming a monogamous knitter. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm thinking about doing that. So here's my next bag. This is a crocheted bag that I did with, I'm pretty sure that I talked about it in one of my earlier episodes. I was on a crochet along with a group. I bought the pattern from the girl and crocheted it. and I like it. I had in that, I carried this downstairs. I showed you the fish last week, and here's the fish, 2 crocheted fish, and then I did a little knitted fish with small, these are size 4 needles, and I tried doing what are they called? French knot eyes on that one. The other ones, I don't know how they are. They're not that great. And these you can hardly see the eyes, but I'm just gonna leave them as is. They're fine. And my friend who wanted the fish was wondering if I could make some plants to go in the aquarium. So here is my little creation, a little plant. I saw some patterns for sea anemones, but they were all crocheted, and I have a harder time with crochet. But this one, I just knit. I did back and forth. You can see that it's garter stitch. I don't remember. I maybe cast on 20 stitches or so and went up 15 rows maybe. And then I started doing a cable cast on for these little tendrils. And as soon as I cast them on, then I cast them off, and I cast off another stitch or 2, and then I cast on another one, and then I cast off 2 stitches and then went up. So anyway, so there's that. I don't know how my friend is going to display these. If she's going to have them in an aquarium and her children aren't going to play with them, then I will get a heavy washer from the hardware store, and I'll put it inside, and then I will do a little stuffing and I'll go around the top. But if the children are going to play with them, I'm going to leave them just like this, because I don't want the children to get hurt playing with them. Okay, next, this is the next thing I made, another little chickie. I tried the eyes. The eyes are pretty awful, but there you go. And the beak is not great. Anyway, the thing is not great, but my friend whose birthday is tomorrow will like it. And so that's the whole point. So this is the little chickie. And the most important of my new cast-ons, so these are new cast-ons, but also it was a finished object, just like this was a new cast-on last night, and I finished it last night. This is called the Cory cap, and our grandson is coming home from his 2-year mission in Argentina, coming up in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. And everyone in his family got a hat, not this one, but a different hat that I made for them. But I didn't think that he would need a nice wool hat in the jungle. So this has been on hold, but I started it up again this week. I had started it before, and I found that I had to tear it out because I was using the wrong size needles. But this one, I am so happy with it. You see that cast-on edge? That is called a tubular cast-on. Doesn't that look fabulous? I am so thrilled. It came out so beautifully. Though, having said that, I cast on 3 times before I got it right. There were different, the cast on in the pattern, I couldn't wrap my head around it, so I pull it out. And then I looked for, so I saw Andrea Mowry had a tubular cast on, and I tried that, and it didn't work for me. Then a Stephen West YouTube, I liked his idea. It was very much like Andrea Mowry's, the way you cast it on, but I didn't get it. And so eventually I went back and I said, okay, I know that I have done an alternating cable cast on. And so that's what I did. I did the alternating cable cast on, and then I did the 2 rounds of the knit 1, slip 1, and then next one, you're doing that flat at the beginning. You knit 1, you knit the whole thing flat until you have all the setup rows done. Stephen West and Andrea Mowry had you do 2 rows, but Suzanne Bryan suggested 4 rows of setup. And so that's what I did. The only thing is, as you can tell, that there is a difference in when you started the ribbing. There's a little bit of vegetable matter in this yarn. So this yarn is, I think it's called Farm Fresh Corriedale from Junction Fiber Mill in White River Junction, Vermont. And since we used to live in Vermont, and in fact, some of our dearest friends live right next door to the sheep whose yarn fiber this is, made into yarn, that's why I spent the money on this, because our grandson will be thrilled to know that his hat came from the farm next door to the Hamiltons. And that makes me happy. So anyway, I want to get this done. Hopefully next week it'll be a finished object. Okay, that is that. So this week, things I've been watching on YouTube. I've been watching a lot of Sarah Howard. Her YouTube, I think it might be called Get Weaving or Weave to Wear. I don't remember what it's called, but she uses a rigid heddle loom, and all the clothes she wears, she's probably my age, close to my age, and which by the way is 75, you know that. Almost all her clothing is clothing she has made from fabric that she has woven on her loom, on her 20-inch Ashford knitter's loom. And last week, Monday night, I watched her video again, and I thought, you know, I came into a little bit of financing recently. I am going to get that loom. And I just got the word that loom should be arriving today. I am thrilled. So she makes her clothes out of narrow pieces of fabric. Now, you can tell that a narrow piece of fabric from the looms that I already have will probably be, I'll have to have more than one strip side by side, but I don't care. I'm very excited about it. So that should be coming today, and I am looking forward to that. Also, books this week. One of the books that came this week was No Fear Knitting by Denise DeSantis. And she is a YouTube girl that I really enjoy. Her videos are called, her channel is called Earth Tones Girl, or Earth Tone Girl. She's so nice, and she's had these classes, and I could have just stuck with the classes, but I really like what she has done. She's been so helpful, and this thing I bet didn't cost more than 20 bucks, and it's a small thing to pay to it was $25, but it's worth it. It makes me happy to know that I can help her by buying her book, because she's helped me with her sock things. Also, this is a book by Sarah Howard, and she and her friend Elizabeth Kendrick have been weaving together for 30 years. And this book is so fabulous. It's got all kinds of wonderful information on weaving. I mean, it tells you at the beginning, there's all kinds of instruction, and then there's projects. So that's not a project, but they've done them in colorfully done. So what they say is, let's see, what does she say here? There's a gallery of weaving. She uses natural fibers mostly. Let's see. Well, I can't find what one, but she's got you use natural fibers, you can use acrylic fibers, you can use cotton, you can use animal fibers, you can even use garbage bags that you have, I mean, what do you call them? The bags you get at the grocery store, you can use those to knit with, to weave with. And I might do that sometime. Anyway, I was thrilled with that. So that's 2 weeks. And the mailman just came, And may I say, at the risk of seeming like a conspicuous consumer, 4 more books came. I don't know what they are. I didn't open them because I wanted to go and get that garden work done. Not garden, but lawn work done. I was also going to tell you that this week I had hoped to have some more placemats done, but I had a warping disaster on our loom. Let me see if I can take you over there to see if we can see how things are with that. Okay, it's a disaster here, but here we go. So here is the loom. I had a long warp, like a 4-yard warp on it, and I had put paper on the back, which you do, but unfortunately the paper crumpled up, it shifted, it crumpled up, and by the time I got everything wound on, it was a disaster, and all the warp was all wumpy wonky. So I pulled it off. I took the end, and so here's the end right there, and I right there, and I chained it together, and now it's waiting for me to put the tensioning device on this time, and also do single sheets of paper the way Sarah Howard says to do it. And I'm sure that it'll turn out much better this time, rather than trying to use the whole roll. So anyway, that is that. And I think that is gonna, hopefully this is, let me see if I can get this.